Black and Blue Podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's been a while. This is the Black and Blue Podcast presented by Team Boy TV with a special presentation for you guys today. As we all know, shockingly, yesterday afternoon, the Carolina Panthers, out of the blue, released their general manager, Dave Gettleman. So I'm here with my boys, and we're going to discuss it first. I want to introduce, y'all know him, y'all love him. It's your boy, the Sage of Sports, Glass from Get With It Sports. What's going on this morning?
What up, fam? Hey, what's up, Twitter hustlers out there? People in the Black and Blue Podcast land. I know I'm kind of like,
it's your second,
but it's all good.
It's your second time being on the show, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And for the first time, I want to, introduce my homie, my friend for a long time, fellow Panther Nation member, my boy Steve Wright. What's going on, Steve?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm glad to be here. It's about time this man got me on.
Absolutely. Welcome to the Black and Blue Podcast. Welcome. And you know what? We had some discussions in class. Depending on what happened, Steve might be teaming up with me for the Black and Blue Podcast this season. Depends. We got some things to work out.
Right there.
Things to work out. But first, we got some business to handle today, right? As like I said before, surprising to the NFL world, Panthers just out of the blue, or was it out of the blue? Who knows? We'll talk about it, right? Released the general manager, Dave Gettleman, amidst speculation of mishandling of veteran contracts, a la Greg Olsen and Thomas Davis. Former players are coming out of the woodwork, turning this thing real personal real quick. We're going to talk about that as well. And then, of course, what's else going on? There's other rumors about things that happened in the past with Steve Smith, Josh Norman, D'Angelo Williams, other players that were released, and things of that nature. A lot on the table. We got a lot to discuss. And I'm going to break it down. I think I'm going to go down a couple different avenues with this, but there's a couple different things. Mr. P-Town, look, you laughing, but do you know what you're laughing at? I'm just saying. You actually see P-Town in the chat. You see him in the chat. You see him in the chat. But I'm just saying, 49ers got their own things to work out. Y'all worry about that. Right? Worry about that. Anyway, let's get this started. I want to start here first, guys. So this is just my personal opinion. Okay? And I'm going to start this. I think it's a good place to start. There are a lot of fans, Panther fans, in particular, who celebrated the fact, and Steve, you talked about this last night. Right. We saw the things in David Gettleman that made him an attractive hire, like him being cutthroat and a shrewd businessman, and being able to pull the trigger on hard decisions and separate himself from the personal side of the business, right? But now it looked like he's being crucified for those same exact things. Let me get your thoughts, and then Steve, I get yours. So Glass, just think about what I just said about the reasons that they brought Gettleman in, looking like they're going to be the same reasons that he's on his way out. What you think?
You know what? I echoed that sentiment on Twitter. I think you seen it this morning. I like, how you going to hire a man to clean shop and you fire him 4 years later for doing said job?
Absolutely.
It was all good just 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Just like you said, they got rid of D'Angelo. I think Steve Smith was first. Yeah. With 2013, he was 34 years old at the time. Mm-hmm. So, age does factor in the situation. Then D'Angelo Williams, 2 years later, he was 32. Any running back after over 30 years old,
or 28,
hit the
right.
Oh, okay, 20. But like I said, he's 32 at the time. So he was doing his job just like when he got hired in 2013. Y'all had salary cap problems. He fixed that. You guys went to Super Bowl 2 years later. Y'all went 15-1.
Absolutely.
Ever since he got hired, y'all was in first place except for last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question, like I said, I'm the outside looking in. I need y'all got some explaining to do. The man was doing his job. Now, if he was on any other team, if he was on the Pittsburgh Steelers, if he was on the New England Patriots, they do that all the time. If you don't fit the criteria, we got to let you go.
Absolutely.
It just seems like Jerry Richardson, everything was cool until Josh Norman's situation. I'm still we trying to figure that out. He was on the franchise tag.
As you've been with me. You know how I felt about that, and I fought that battle out. And we'll talk about that as we get more into it. But yeah, absolutely, I agree.
But it's just like when you just mentioned it at the beginning with the what's the defensive player that actually sparked this off? Thomas Davis situation. Yeah. It's like, and I know Jerry Richardson like him. It's like when the Thomas Davis name came up, he was like, "No, we can't have that." Right. And then you fire him. And don't get me wrong, it's his team. You do what you want. But if you felt that way about him, you should have sat down and talked to Gettleman. But like I said, behind the scenes, I heard it was like ever since the Josh Norman situation, Jerry Richardson had his finger on the trigger, trying to get Gettleman. So that's what I see from the outside looking in.
Okay, from an insider perspective, Steve, I know me and you, we after the conversation we had last night, there's a couple things we disagreed on, but there's a lot of things we did agree on. So in this situation, and your take so far, what you think?
All right. So again, the conversation we had last night, like you said, we disagreed on something, we agreed on a thing. Mm-hmm. My issue with the whole thing is, and like Glass was saying, you hired this man to do this job. If I'm not mistaken, the Panthers were we were right up against the salary cap, and we had 5 players we needed to sign, right? So we couldn't do that. You hired this guy, he came in. Now we $18 million under the cap, then the one Super Bowl. So he did that job. Now where we disagree, and I still, even listening to a couple things this morning, I still believe there's a way to do it.
Right.
Now, you can be cutthroat, you can be hard, you can pull them in the office, but after I heard what John Beeson said yesterday, I can't co-sign on being completely with Dave Gettleman in this situation.
And here's my issue with that though, Stephen. Again, like we disagreed last night, and we probably go disagree again today. It's business. It's like it's grown men. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the part I'm not processing properly. The crying and the bitching and like it's too much for me. Like I can't do it.
Now that part, like we were talking about last night, what I believe happened in this whole thing, and like Glass said, the Josh Norman thing, I think that woke Richardson up and had him sit up in his chair a little bit, right? Right, absolutely. Steve Smith, the Jordan Groves, the Brandon LaFell, all that stuff happened. He took notice of it, but I don't believe he was concerned about it because this was a fresh hire. Right. How does it look? You bring this guy in, he turned you around, and then bam, you let him go in 2 years, right? That's not a good look at all.
Not a good
look. He had to sit back. Yeah. Now, when you have Thomas Davis, who Panther fans know, when you talk about Charlotte, you talk about the Carolina Panthers, regardless of who put that jersey on, Thomas Davis is a staple in this community. Yeah. This guy, he washed cars on the weekends. He got all kinds of different charities, and he shows up, and you see him in the community. Mm-hmm. Olsen, Jerry Richardson helped his son in the hospital, right? Got him pushed up the ladder a little bit of privilege in there, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. So you got an owner who I think kind of stepped over the line by becoming so emotional attached to the players, right? I get all of that. However, when you sit down, a grown man, and you look at that grown man in his eyes and you tell him that he ain't hurt.
Right, he faking his injuries. Right, yeah.
Your injuries are fake. Yeah. You tell him, we about to let you go, and you can't go talk to the dudes in the locker room. You need to exit out this door. I can't. There's a way to do it. There's a way to do it.
You know what? I agree with that sentiment to a certain extent, but at the same time, and we got into the whole Jerry Jones Dallas Cowboys comparison last night. But again, I'm gonna bring it up because without Jerry Jones being as shrewd and just like sometimes you gotta take a hit in order to grow. You know what I mean? Like you do, and I mean like this whole owner being so personal with the players, like. It's in the end, and this is my personal opinion, I think it's gonna hurt the franchise. Glass, I don't know how. I just think that's a detriment. Like as an owner, if you're gonna have favors like that, it's gonna be hard to keep a general manager. It's gonna be hard to keep coaches. It's gonna be hard to keep offensive coordinators, defense. It's gonna be hard to do that when you grant favors to people. Or totally agree. And who's gonna take a job knowing, well, if this player says this, that, and the third, I'm out. Ain't nobody gonna feel comfortable with that. How you feel about that?
Well, you know what? Just before I tell you that, I'm split between both of you with the business etiquette situation. Mm-hmm. I agree with Steve. There's a way you're supposed to handle business. Okay. Shake my hand on your way out the door. And everything I heard about John Beeson, I agree with Steve. But then on the other hand, I agree with you, Big Q. Steve Smith been gone for a while. D'Angelo been gone for 2 years. Don't be bitching him on it now once Gettleman gone. You know what I'm saying? If this is how you felt about it, you should have said it at the time. Because you're not hired by the team anymore.
Right.
So it's like now that the witch is dead, now you're gonna stomp all over it. You know what I'm saying? So, but I agree with you. I thought, you know what? Tell me if I'm wrong. Jerry Richardson always had his hand in the cookie jar when it's dealing with the team.
Oh yes.
Some way, somehow.
100%.
But I think because Gettleman did his job and they was winning, he kind of kept his hand back.
Right.
Now, like you said, last year me and Big Q been arguing about this. Not even arguing. I agree with Big Q. When Josh Norman was gone, I was like, okay, how one man gonna change the dynamic of the team? Well, evidently it did.
A little bit.
Because you know what I'm saying? Y'all was in the top 10 in defense.
Right.
Now y'all damn near last in defense
right.
just off of one person. That was the only thing that changed. That's the only variable that changed was Josh Norman. And then what y'all go 6-10?
6-10. Yeah.
You know, so it's like, but see, I don't know, I'm going all over the place. When Gettleman came in, y'all was in first place 3 out of 4 years. Last year was the only one. So it's my thing is, when can you give the man a mulligan, or is it deeper than that? Is it personal? It seemed like Jerry Richardson making this personal because,
and that's the direction I'm leaning in. Because
you're right.
You know, when you think about it, like, and of course, the speculation and the information that we have at the moment is most of it is revolving around veteran contracts. We're talking about Greg Olsen. We're talking about Thomas Davis. Now, and if this is the case, let's go on that for a second, right? You know, and Steve, we had this conversation last night. Everybody who know about the Carolina Panthers know what Greg Olsen's value is to the team, right? Everybody who know anything about the Carolina Panthers defense know that Thomas Davis is the integral part of that squad.
Right.
On the other side, though, and Steve, I'm coming to you with this one because we talked about this. These dudes ain't no spring chickens,
right?
And and if they talking about anything more than a 1 or 2 year extension, I'm with Gettleman. I don't agree with that. I'm not paying you no 4-year contract and you like a gajillion years old. I'm not doing. You somebody's granddaddy.
Right.
I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? So, and if that's what the breakdown is at, then you know what? I'm with Gettleman on this. I mean, would I would have shown him the door? Probably not. I would have tried to do something.
Right.
But you know, and if it's getting to the point where these guys were nervous that they like, cause they know how Gettleman work. Oh, he gonna let us go. You know what I mean? I'm gonna talk to the owner about that. You know, I don't know, Steve, but that's where I'm at with it.
It's okay. So, and on that part, I do agree with you. Now, when it comes to, like, let's roll it back a little bit because, like I tell you, I like to peel back the layers a little bit and try to figure out for myself, since the Panthers are not talking, which is another problem. We can talk about it another day.
Yeah.
So when you have these situations, as a manager, as an owner, you looking at it, you sitting back, you watching. Okay, yeah, we winning. This is cool. But behind the doors, there had to be some unrest anyway.
Right.
Had to be, right? Look at the 2 years when he first came in. People forget he wanted to fire Ron Rivera.
Right. Yeah.
As soon as he pulled his seat up at his desk, he called Rivera in the office and pretty much told him he didn't get enough.
Right.
Right. So when you start looking at stuff like that, and now you got the whole organization looking at this man like he the Godfather. I don't know if everybody saw that, but looking at him in fear, right? And they playing in fear. Now you can look at the records, you can look at and say, well, they playing in fear. Them boys played their ass off. They got to the Super Bowl. They did this. They did that.
Right.
Yeah, but at some point that ride is going to be over.
Yes.
Because as a manager, you have to manage people. You manage behaviors. And those behaviors will get you results.
Right.
And the what he did was caught lightning in a bottle. The Josh Norman thing. He's homegrown. The boy was on the team for 4 years before he got his head right and got together. Right. So he caught lightning in the bottle with that. He mishandled that completely. I believe he mishandled that completely. You franchises do. You say, we're going to give you this money for 1 year. Prove yourself. Now, I'm okay with him franchising them and then letting them bounce. I was okay with that.
Right.
You don't stop that Super Bowl roll.
Right.
Right? Because I wasn't with you. Man, how can one person destroy the defense like that?
Right.
And again, peeling back the layers, you take out that one person who controlled that zone, that side of the field. You put in two corners who was 21, 22 years old. Now you got your all-pro linebacker looking back because he's concerned about what's going on behind him. Right? You got Thomas Davis concerned about getting his head plastered because he looking behind him and not in front of him. Thomas Davis.
So let me ask you this. Okay, and I was cool with this up until a certain point, but Dave Gettleman, extends the franchise tender to Josh Norman, right? And that so far everything is playing out the way it's supposed to. Okay, we're giving you the option to figure out what you want to do. Do you want to stay with us and deal with us? Like we'll figure out what to do with your salary and all that. Trust the process. And again, I'm gonna come back to trust the process because that ties in with the Thomas Davis, Greg Olsen thing too. But this is where it gets weird to me. I don't know, what was it 14, 19 days? I don't know how many days it was, but he pulled it back. Like, you know what? This dude trying to play me. He's trying to bully me around. I'm Dave Gettleman. Don't nobody push me around. You ain't gonna go and talk to Washington and talk to whoever, and then come back to me with they crappy offers. When I'm your boss, I came to you first. Right. And you doing this? No. Taking it back. You out. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. At that point, I don't like.
So let me ask you.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you this though: as if you was Josh Norman, would it be your right to do so?
It is, and that's the law of the land. Like you got a certain amount of time. Like I said, I think it was July 11th or somewhere around. It was a time there's a date in the rule book for this kind of stuff. Obviously, Dave Gettleman didn't abide by that. And to his credit, he didn't have to either. He could have did what he done. And to Steve's credit, that was wrong. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like Steve, we talked about last night, no one's safe, and that's been Dave Gettleman's philosophy since day one. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. And again, that's what was the attractiveness to bring him in. That was the whole thing. Like, and for us to kind of sit now, like, wow, this dude he was hardcore. You know what I mean? And he wrong for that. And, I mean, I ain't saying it was right. I'm just saying you knew what you had. That's all I'm saying. You knew what you got. And I don't know how y'all feel about that.
Go ahead, Glass.
It's just everybody know this is a business. You hired this man to handle business like he did. Once he got hired, first place 3 out of the 4 years.
Absolutely.
The one time it was rough, you got speculations about it, and I'm just gonna put out there, Jay Richardson, I kind of blame him most of all out of all this for the simple fact. Okay, Josh Norman project messed up, and I hear what y'all say about Thomas Davis and Sean Beeson. But we just said 2 weeks ago, y'all had a hell of a draft, picking up Christian McCaffrey, Curtis Samuels. Great draft. He drafted for you. And then you're going to make him bounce a week and a half before training?
I think all his drafts been pretty decent. I mean,
been pretty good. Right.
So, his accomplishments, again, and I keep going back to this, and I know, Steve, you hate it, but it's the truth, right? Like, this dude contributed a lot to the success that the Carolina Panthers had over the last 4 or 5 years or whatever. And, except for last season, we just kept getting better and better and better. You know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, this is great. I know we had to suffer some losses, the Steve Smith thing, it hurt a lot of us. The Jonathan, the J-No stuff had a lot of people confused. But you know what? It's about trusting the process. Cam Newton's contract comes up, everybody flipping out. Oh, y'all know how Dave Gettleman is. I don't know if y'all gonna get a deal done. It got done. Kuechly comes up. Everybody losing their shit, right? Because they don't know what's getting ready to happen with Kuechly. No way we can lose this guy, right? This dude is a gem. The deal got done. And now people like, okay, well, we don't trust the process with these veteran guys. He gonna show them dudes the door. He gonna kick them out, and we can't have that. And Steve, that right there, I can't agree with that. Like, you hired me to do a job.
Right.
And now you ain't letting me do it.
So, and I agree. The way you put it right there, I agree, right? But when it comes, let's look at the Cam Newton contract. Okay. Do you really think that was Dave Gettleman, or do you think Jerry Richardson stays fine?
You know what? I just know if the deal didn't get done, some heads was gonna roll. I know that much for sure.
So right there, right? Okay. Because we know at that press conference, a 2-second pause, right? That was on ESPN for 2 weeks.
It was.
A 2-second pause. Is this your franchise quarterback?
Right.
Well, we'll evaluate that when. What, man, come on, this is your number 1 pick just 2 years ago. Right. And now you don't pause on a question like that. So then 3 weeks later, he gets signed. So do you think that's Dave Gettleman? Or you think that's
no, that was pressure coming from somewhere else, no doubt about it. But at the same time, it's just I mean, for him to even and again, I think that's probably more going to play into Dave Gettleman's genius than anything else. Again, like I said, when you're dealing with a Dave Gettleman, ain't nobody safe. Ain't nobody safe. Look, maybe, I don't know. Come on.
Somebody got to be safe.
No, look, ain't nobody safe. Look,
somebody got to be safe.
Your franchise legend was the first one on the chopping block.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
We was already talking about using a walking chair, using in a wheelchair.
I'm just saying, ain't nobody safe. And again, that philosophy, which I thought was brilliant in the beginning, and then then I start seeing like some of the people leaving and like some of the decisions being made. And again, as a fan, it impacted me on a personal level. But then you got to think about what do I like. Instead, you said it perfectly last night. What do I want more? To see my beloved favorite players, or to see my team win a freaking Super Bowl? What's more important at the end of the day? You know what I mean? So
right.
You got to think about that.
Right. Yeah. It's about the colors. So, and let's move a little forward. After the Cam Newton deal, Luke Kuechly got a deal.
Right.
He still had a year to go on his contract. Right? Let's get this done. He even broke rules as we don't negotiate contracts during the season. Right. So he went ahead and did that and got that done. But then when you look at Josh Norman, then that's a little different. Right. Now, we talked last night, and I told you I don't agree with giving a corner $15 million. I don't care.
Absolutely not.
You know what I'm saying?
I think all three of us in agreement with that.
Right. That ain't happening. Right. Because, you can look at what we got now, and Bradbury being ranked higher than Josh Norman, and it worked out. So it is what it is. My biggest point is you don't take away a Super Bowl team like that.
Right. Okay.
You let them boys ride it out. So, to me, Gettleman was believing his own hype. Oh, man, I can pick somebody out off the street. We got this. We ain't worried about this. Right. That was his mentality. That's the only way you pull back that's only been done one other time in the history of the league.
Right.
If you believe in your own hype, for you to go ahead and pull that back and let that dude go somewhere else. Right?
It's a rough one. Yeah.
I think all of us saying is we see it, we get it. Jerry Richardson hired this dude to do a job. He did it. But at the same time, there's still a way that you go about doing it, and you have to do the culture.
But dude, listen, I just can't get. I'm having a hard time really getting behind this sugarcoating, soft. I'm telling you, it's turned into the NBA, and y'all know how I feel about the NBA, right? I can't deal with this. I can't deal with no LeBron James getting the coach fired and trying to pull strings behind the scenes and whatnot. And now like that put people in crazy positions. Like how do you successfully build a team if you got the players threatening the general manager? I ain't saying that's what happened, but that's what it looked like to me. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That's what it looked like to me. Like, let me tell you this: if this is indeed about the veteran contracts, right? If this is what look, it's a lot. Like, I ain't gonna say this is all about that, but if this was the trigger, right? Going forward, like how like the new GM that comes in, or the new coaches that come in, and all this stuff. How do they respond to that? Like me personally, I would be scared to death. I would be scared to death. Like,
hard to get somebody.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what you think about it, Glass?
It is the loss of organizational control. That's all it is right now. Just put it in a nutshell, because like I just told you at the beginning of the show, it's done all the time. People when you get old, when you get to that age, people are gonna let you go. We just like you saying about the New England Patriots, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens. Teams do this.
That's what they do.
Now, I guess my thing is, once you show that you got a weakness, and we see there's a weakness, Jerry, just like you said, the players go over the GM's head, go to the owner. You can't let that happen. You got to get control of this team, because if you guys don't get control of this team, you will be looking like the Cleveland Browns.
Absolutely. And listen,
GMs don't want to go there. You know what I'm saying? Right. Players know what's going to happen.
And to even back that up even further, you talk about the Baltimore Ravens. I just don't remember. Like Ed Reed was beloved. He's beloved in Baltimore.
Right.
And he got sayonara because of his age, right? And his performance was slowing down. He was missing a step. I just don't remember a backlash on Ozzie Newsome like this. Torrey Smith and all them young guys. He even showed them the door, because after the Super Bowl or whatever, it's like, hey, you ain't really giving me what I want. You know what I mean? So and still nobody gave Ozzie this type of backlash. I don't understand it.
Look,
and Ozzie is shrewd too. He's a cutthroat. Ain't nobody saying nothing about that.
But here's why. Ozzie shook their hand and thanked them for their service on the way out.
Yes.
Okay.
Every single one of them.
Exactly.
Right?
Okay.
So you can't, and like we were talking last night, as a manager, there comes a time where everybody got to go. Me, if I was in Dave Gettleman's position, I would have said to Thomas Davis, I give you $1 million a year for the next 2 years, and you can ride out being a Panther legend and be gone. Right? that's me offering you this, but also letting you know that you are devalued in the franchise. But thank you for your service. I'm going to do this, and you can go out as a Panther.
Yeah,
right?
you know.
So, that's just a way to do it.
So the
and I say even more real quick.
Yeah.
Tell Thomas Davis, you know what? You ride out these next 2 years.
Yeah.
I got a spot for you on the coaching staff.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that too. Okay, so let's get into this then. So glad you mentioned it at the top. You know, and we talked about it for a second. These former players are starting to come out. Now, you know, to be honest, with Steve Smith, you know, his stuff that he showed. I get that, and I don't have an issue with Steve, you know, because I just don't like. And you know, he was respectful in a way, to saying, "Hey, look, you know, you didn't really give me the benefit of the doubt. You kind of did it the wrong way. Now you kind of see what it feel like."
Right.
I'm cool with that. J-No, the little eyeballs and the, you know, I get it, you know, because he ain't the brightest bulb, and everybody know that. But you know, and so that's just his way of saying, "Oh, okay, well, look what's happening." You know what I mean? But then I see D'Angelo Williams. Right, and I'm actually really I feel real disrespected because you know what, I cheer for him, you know, and even when he went to Pittsburgh, I cheer for him, you know, and I don't know. Then you got the other stuff like Beeson, and the Beeson thing is a whole different thing because it's different. It's on some more of some factual, real, concrete stuff versus some emotional crap like D'Angelo Williams, right? Steve, what you think about these players coming out? Saying some of the things they're saying.
So with Steve Smith, I'm okay with it. I mean, because when I got the news that Steve Smith was let go, I'm like you. I was emotional about that. I was like, "Well, wait a minute, that's 89. Yeah. Like this, we drafted this dude homegrown. He, you know, like triple. He was the man, right?
Right.
And then you hear some of the stuff that Steve Smith was saying, how he felt disrespected by it.
Well, you're talking about in the beginning, though, right?
In the beginning.
That was expected, don't you think?
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, Josh Norman, what he did, you know, with the eyeballs, and I get that. That's cool. He minimized probably what he felt.
Right.
And that's
absolutely.
what he never does, right? This dude can't close his mouth no matter what. D'Angelo, good riddance.
Yeah.
See you. Who cares? I mean, so this is going to sound cold, and I apologize for anybody who had this happen in their family, but there's no employer that I've ever worked for that would send people from the job because of a death in the family.
Right. Yes.
Right? I mean, maybe people out there in podcast land had that. But I've had uncles and nieces and dads, and people passed away. I didn't look to my job to send somebody to a funeral.
Right.
Now, granted, there's a couple of people that from the office who went, and I think Greg Hardy showed up, and this dude just went off, right? He stopped playing for us.
Right.
Now, through this whole conversation, I'm black and blue.
Right.
Players are come and go. When I'm 50 years old, Cam ain't playing no more.
Right.
So I'm black and blue. So players can move out, and I told you last night, once they're gone, I ain't rooting for them.
Right. Yeah. You know?
I mean, for real. Like, I mean, why? You're not a Panther no more. I'm gone.
Right.
And then when you go, stay gone.
Right.
Don't be on Twitter disrespecting the team that I love, especially after I spent 7-8 years rooting for you.
Right. And that's the part that I feel. I see. Not only I understand his anger toward the office. I completely get that. But what about us?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's the part I don't agree with. What up, T Money, Pat Coltrane in the building? Yeah, but that's I'm with you on that, Steve, all day. You know.
Yeah, he quit on the team the last 2 years with the gained 10 pounds.
Yeah, you know, showing up looking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Right. So you quit on the team. So what does that say about your teammates? What are you saying about? So you just quit, right? So now don't get on there talking about yesterday. I take the Panthers off my list of teams that I won't play for. Right. Dude, took you off the list 2 years ago.
Absolutely. Look. You ain't. I don't think he had it wasn't no coming back for him.
No,
because number one, your age is going to be a problem, right. And and look, he had a burst, and when Ben got hurt or something like that, he had like a little bit of a burst, and I'm like, oh, look at your boy, look at you, but at the same time, like, and we were all there for him with the whole situation with his mom, like he was saying.
Oh, absolutely.
And just to hear this crap come out of this dude's mouth was
right.
I don't know, Glass, and what you think about this, man? Because you knew something like this was going to happen. People were going to say something. We live in the world of social media. It's just that I haven't seen it on this scale from no other team and no other sport, nowhere. You know what I mean? So I don't know. What you think?
Yeah, NFL is a whole different animal, man.
Yeah.
You know, everybody gonna sling mud when you down and everything. But okay, I expect that from Steve Smith. I kind of expect that from D'Angelo Williams to a certain point. Right. But my thing with D'Angelo Williams is, man, dude, you got to let go. You went to Pittsburgh and you did the damn thing for 2 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, man, why you crying?
I mean, we getting them shouts and everything. Like you,
right? You know, I'm rooting for him too and everything. I know you wasn't, man. But it's like, dude, man, you just gotta keep moving. You just gotta move on. I know maybe because D'Angelo don't have a team right now.
Right.
He feeling kind of salty and everything. But dude, Gettleman, once again, it's a business. Gettleman did what he thought was right for the team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's been working, like I said, been working all these years.
It has.
And it's just this shit. Now, like I said, I agree with Steve. Now, there's a certain etiquette you're supposed to handle this with, right. And maybe Gettleman didn't do that. But once again, nobody was talking about this the 3 years y'all was in first place in the division.
Think, and I don't know about you, because you ain't really considered a Southern dude, but Steve, you don't really think that this whole, because this dude was very successful in New York, and I'm pretty sure he had the same personality in New York, and there was some personnel changes in New York. There was a lot of stuff going on in New York. Tiki Barber, all that. So look, it's known. It's been documented. Same dude. Do you think now because he below the Bible Belt, we all, oh my God, I'm just saying, this feels real fugazi to me. I'm just saying it do, Steve. I'm just saying, like it does.
I mean, you got a point. So I was thinking about this last night after we got off last night. So some of that is the Bible Belt, Southern. When this team was presented to us, we embraced it. Like we embraced it. We didn't embrace it like say Jacksonville did, who was like, oh, we got a football team, who cares? Right. I mean, this was our Carolina Panthers, right? I mean, I drove down to Clemson the first year to go see the football games, right? Because we didn't have the NFL here at all. We had no access to the NFL. Right. We still young. We're 22 years old. Like in 30 or 40 years, and the same thing happened, we ain't having this conversation.
Right.
It don't matter because you're used to it, right? You look at the older teams, Green Bay, the Pittsburghs, the Cowboys. I mean, they do that all the time. It's not a big deal, right? Mm-hmm. And I just think it's age. One, we just young. Right. We don't know no better yet. Mm-hmm. We get used to people. We get tied into people, and we had that connection to people.
Right.
Jerry Richardson is a new owner, right? He's brand new. 22 years. Yeah. That's not a long time considering those other teams out there. We're still babies. Right. So he don't know any better. He was a former player. He remembered, like I said last night, he remembers sitting across that desk and them telling him he ain't good enough. Right. Beat it. Right? You ain't. Thank you for your service. Bounce. No, don't pick that check up on the way out. That ain't yours. Right? Right. Yeah. So we're not used to that. And I think that's more than anything. I think that's what it is. You look at what people saying on Twitter, on Facebook. Oh my God, and like they going crazy over this. Yeah. And it's brand new. That's all.
It is. So I got some comments I want y'all to react to. I must 2 minutes say, from what I've been seeing, Brendan Bean did more of the dealing with the players and agents, while DG did more talent evaluation and scouting. So maybe Bean leaving led them to think he can't do both. I mean, that's a possibility. And he also said, like in New York, he was a scout, never had to deal with players and agents. I mean, even if that's the case, he's still Dave Gettleman, and I just don't see his personality being that much different. Even if you didn't really have to sign the paperwork or put the contracts together and whatnot, he still his eye for talent is still the same, because you can't tell me he can't find good talent, because he done brought plenty of talent here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just told you did a great job this draft.
Absolutely. So him being that shrewd, I just don't see it changing that much from 4 years ago to now. I really believe because of the environment and the fact that Carolina Panthers fans, we are just so like in love with this team and these players. Like, and I ain't saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I've been with the team since the beginning. I know I done been through everything. I done cried and did all that. It's just at the end of the day, business got to be handled, Steve. And I mean, and whether you agree that it was done the right way or not, I mean, like, what's the point of sugarcoating stuff? We talking about grown men. We ain't talking about a high school basketball team. We ain't talking about no 7-on-7 league out in California. We're talking about the NFL, grown ass men.
And I got that. So let me ask you this: on the flip side of that, what's wrong with respect?
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Great.
I ain't talking about sugarcoating. Right. I ain't talking about, hey man, give me a hug. I love you. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about hey,
it seemed like that's what y'all asking for, though. It seemed like y'all saying he should have kissed Josh Norman's ass. He should have been a little bit more huggy with Steve Smith. No. That's what it seemed like y'all saying.
No, man, this is what I'm saying. When you tell me you bring me to the office,
right?
You sit me down. You tell me what we doing going forward. I'm not part of the plan. You get up, you shake my hand, and say good luck. Right. That's not what I'm hearing. But that Gettleman doing, I hear Gettleman like I don't even want to see you. Here's your walking papers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a way you do it.
I'm not
just like you said. The NFL is grown ass man. Act like a grown ass man.
Act like a grown man.
So, but here's my rebuttal, and I'm saying I don't want it to seem like I'm defending Dave Gettleman. I am in a way because I feel like this GM and this direction that the team was going in was the right way. Yeah, it was aggressive and there's a lot of aggressive things going on. A lot of aggressive decisions had to be made, but it was for the betterment of the team at the end of the day. And I'm gonna go back to this, Steve, and I know you disagree with it, but the whole he should be a little bit more gentle. You know what you had. You know who you hired. You know who you hired, and at the end of the day, you hired that guy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying like that's something that the owner should be dealing with. That he need to take onus of that. Not fire. I mean, okay, if you want to fire, it's your prerogative, right? Okay, that's fine. But you can't drop all this on Dave Gettleman. I don't agree with that, Steve. I just don't.
No, and so first you use the word gentle. I ain't never said gentle. Okay. I mean, you know me. That word ain't never. That's the first time that word ever came out of my mouth.
Word.
What I'm saying is, I don't care about him sending players out.
Okay.
I really don't. That's not even the issue for me. But if you're trying to build a team, and a team is all in one, right? We agree. It takes 54, 53 on a roster to make that team.
Yeah.
So if you got other players seeing what's going on, right? Why do they want to play?
I feel you. I feel you.
Because we talked about New England last night, right? And people wanting to go to New England. Whatever you say about Bill Belichick, I guarantee you he's not disrespectful to anybody.
No, I don't think he is. But you know what? You are saying the same thing that Team Money is saying in the comment. Team Money saying, player-wise, I can see their point. When most of them come here, it's for the family feel and environment. Steve, we talked about the family environment last night. They are naturally hurt more than other teams whose stress is just business. Now, I got a rebuttal for that too, Glass. And I can't stand the New England Patriots. You know this. But you know what? Their business model is impeccable. And you can't deny all the times that them played in the Super Bowl, all the Super Bowl titles they done won on a business plan. People know, like Steve just mentioned, they know you ain't got but a limited time and to do your thing in New England. But you know what? They understand what it's like there, and ain't nothing guaranteed there. But maybe a Super Bowl win, right? And they come there anyway in flocks, in droves. You know what I'm saying? Like, and these guys crying about players. I don't agree with that, Glad. I just don't.
Once again, it's how you do it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And the New England Patriots is the perfect team. Now, I can't stand the Patriots. But let's think about this. Randy Moss, the most into his feelings person I know, quit on the team person, whatever. He got on the New England Patriots and balled out.
He did.
They let him go. You hear him crying about anything?
No, none of them. Not
Martellus Bennett last year. Now, Martellus Bennett was on the Bears. And I seen Martellus Bennett when he's done with you, he's done with you.
Right.
He went to New England, won the Super Bowl.
Right.
He's not there anymore.
Right.
You hear him crying about anything?
I don't.
There's a way you're supposed to do it.
Okay, so let me ask you fellas this, and then I'm gonna back off of it, right? Because the more we get into this conversation, the more I feel like Jerry Richardson just made a mistake. But I just the way I'm feeling right now. I'm kind of in my emotions. But what was I getting ready to go with this? Oh yeah. So what was I getting ready to say? I was on it. Yeah. So back to New England again, right? So you're talking about respect and how things should be respectfully handled. Don't you think the reason why these guys don't trip and act a fool and say crazy stuff on Twitter, or you hear nobody saying nothing bad about the Patriots, is because the respect go the other way too. They know what they walking into. They know how Bill Belichick is. Just like these people ought to know who Dave Gettleman was. They've been playing under him for a couple of years now. You know this dude, right? Yes, there's certain things that you can and you cannot do that's going to set him off a certain way. Number one, you better perform. You better be doing what you're supposed to be doing. Number two, you better not be getting old. Because you're out of here if you're getting old. You know what I'm saying? Like, and don't come in here and demanding nothing
Right.
Because it ain't gonna happen.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If these players, our players, were like the New England players and understood that, do you think we'd be dealing with this right now?
Yes.
But
You think
Yes.
so?
I still think, because it still goes back to what Glass and I've been talking about the whole time. There's a way you do it. These dudes don't mind walking off from New England and being sent out of New England, because I guarantee you, Bill Belichick and the owner.
Look, they ain't getting paid nothing there. Only thing they go to New England for is a hope and a dream. They don't get paid nothing there. They ain't got no guarantees they're going to be there forever. None of that. These players in Carolina crying about contracts and who hurt my feelings. And
Right.
But see, you know what? You know why they could cry? I'm gonna tell you the difference between New England Patriots and Carolina Panthers. New England Patriots, Robert Kraft telling you right in your face, don't come to me crying about anything.
Right.
You go, whatever Bill Belichick says, that's how it's gonna work.
right.
Yeah.
See, just like we just hear about the Carolina Panthers players going over the GM head and going to the owner, and the owner picking into his feelings and dealing with it.
So
There's a structure
again,
you're supposed
that
to
plays
have.
into what I'm talking about, Glass. Like, that's wrong.
What you mean?
That's not the way it's supposed to be.
What?
You know, the GM / coach, like a Bill Belichick, he called the shots. Like, ain't no in between. Ain't no maybe. Well, I'll see what I can do. It's either yes or no. You do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Why? What's wrong with that?
That's not happening in Carolina.
So,
Obviously.
are you saying which is wrong, Carolina or the Patriots?
I'm saying Carolina wrong, and I'm a Carolina fan. I'm saying it's wrong for that to be allowed to happen. For the owner to sit there and watch a house burning. You're sitting there watching the house burning for 3 years, and then finally you're like, you know what? It's almost destroyed. I better put some water on this. You know, that's my mentality, Steve. That's where I'm at right now.
No, and I think all three of us on both sides of it. Right? We agree that you hired this man to do a job and he did it.
Right.
If anything, I feel like he should have got an extension and we locked this guy down for 4 or 5 more years.
Right.
That's how I feel. Now, as an owner, I think it's on Jerry Richardson to pull this dude aside and say,
yes,
hey,
absolutely.
Hey, I get what you're doing, right? But we got to find a middle ground. Now, if I need to get you some type of coach.
Come on.
To help you, talk to him. Should have fired him for it. We're dealing with all.
Right. I'm just saying. You know, I know people are probably looking at this like, oh, Q like the biggest Carolina Panthers fan ever, and my stance on this is crazy. But you know what? I've always had an alternative stance because except for the Steve Smith, I was with the fans with this one because it was bad. But like the whole Josh Norman thing, my stance was against everybody else, and I stood by that for a complete season. And I ain't rescinding nothing, Glass. I ain't saying that well, maybe I was wrong about that, but I still don't understand. Like I know if I'm the GM, I ain't playing ball with no cornerback like that. No. Now to you guys' point, I probably wouldn't have did it that way. I probably wouldn't have been like, here, hang on to the tender for like 19 days or whatever, and I'm gonna take it. I probably wouldn't have done that. Right. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I am with a guy because Steve, we both been managers in retail. If they see you bend a little bit, they gonna rush you. You know what I'm saying? And you can't show them that. And you can't do it. And those guys who do, I don't know how they get away with it. To be honest with you, I don't know how you can be for the players like that. I'm asking you can take care of players in a different way. Make sure they getting paid. Make sure their contracts are straight. Make sure that they able to do what they love. I don't think you got to be showing up to their house for Thanksgiving dinner, Glass. I don't think you got to be. I don't think you got to be doing all that. I'm just saying.
No, that's not what we saying. That's not what we saying, man. See, there you go, take it to the extreme, man.
I'm just because it bothers me, man. Like and how we got into that conversation. We always get into this conversation about free agency and contracts and how the balance between the offense and the player, and how what in Glasses, this is one of your quotes. You all about the player getting paid. And you know what? I disagree to a certain extent, but I understand where you're coming from, right? Because that's the whole point. That's how you get people. That's how the business continues. You need employees. You need workers, right? They have to be paid accordingly. I understand. But at the same time, ain't no player coming to me telling me what to do. I'm just saying, Steve, I ain't with that.
No player? What about Tom Brady?
Even Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? Like Tom Brady done,
Hey, Steve, you picked the wrong player. We both hate Tom Brady, man.
Tom Brady. I'm just saying. Look. Like I told you last night, Steve. I'm not gonna sit here and say Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time.
No, hell no.
I'm never gonna give him that extinguishment. I'm never gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Even though, his hardware proves it. His stats may show it. You know what? That's on paper. I see something completely different when I see him line up. He ain't that great.
Let me throw another scene up in this situation that might have happened with Jerry Richardson. Jerry Richardson.
Yeah, Jerry Richardson.
Do you think because you guys just went to the Super Bowl year before, 15-1 record, last year, instead of looking through your rearview mirror, you see Atlanta Falcons 11-5. Mm-hmm. Damn. Then you see Tampa Bay Buccaneers pass you 9-7. You think he had a knee-jerk reaction like, you know what, this shit ain't working anymore?
Yeah, I would agree with that if it wasn't for the timing.
Right.
If it wasn't for the timing, I would have been all over that, right? And I ain't saying that don't have a part to play in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the timing kind of dictates something different. What you think, Steve?
Well, see, I would agree with that if it not only the timing, but that 6-10 season, again, pulling back the layers, there's a lot that contributed to 6-10.
Right.
Correct.
Right? I mean, that first game in Denver contributed to 6-10.
Absolutely.
That loss at Minnesota contributed to 6-10.
Getting swept by Atlanta.
So, and you look at the offensive line, 15-1, we didn't lose one game in the offensive line. Nobody was out, right? So you had a cohesive unit on the offensive line, and Cam could stand. We talked about it last night. He was standing up there for 4 or 5 seconds to throw the ball because he had time.
Had all
he
day.
All over the place because he had time. That 6-10, we lost 3 offensive linemen. We had to move the left tackle over to right guard. The right guard had to play center for 3 games.
And it was pretty much a different lineup every week. You know what I mean?
Right. It was a mess. So, I mean, and then you had the 2 baby corners back there who, still chasing Julio down 85.
Right.
So that 6.
That damn Skype.
I'm telling you, right?
10 contributed, and I think made us 6. We got to straighten this out. Let's go.
Yeah,
I mean that's.
I would definitely agree with that, and and the fact that and again we talked about this last night too. The mental of the quarterback, he been getting bust upside his head, 2 seasons straight, and you know what I mean. Like he's kind of approaching the game a little bit more cautiously. You got a little bit more to think about, and they can't just be throwing his body around. Got 2 kids now, you know what I'm saying, coming off rotated. So those things are concerning to me, and so while everybody is getting all bent out of shape about what's going on with the GM, I mean, like, it's other stuff that in my opinion, were a little bit more higher priority. Let's make sure that, okay, we got Cam surgery done, and that's good. So we feel like, we seen him throw, it was all great. So we feel good about that now. But do we know what's going to be like when the lights come on and he really got to do what he do? Because we know we ain't never going to see 2015 Cam no more. That dude is gone. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And now is the offensive line good enough to help him make that transition? To be more of a pocket passer, that they address the running back situation. Everybody was talking last year, Whitaker and Stewart and it's the awesome 1-2, and now they bringing in another running back. You know what I'm saying? So like weird stuff like that. What about the wide receivers? What about KB showing up looking like Peter Griffin? You know what I mean? Like what about stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like these are the things that I thought were more pressing than 2 old dudes crying about a contract.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So where you at with that, Glass?
Y'all answered my question. But let me, as a non-Panther fan, let me ask you 2 more questions, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Both of you and Steve. Who you figure had bigger piece of the pie to blame on the situation? Richardson or Gettleman?
I go Richardson.
I want to say the owner. Like I said, how long are you going to stand by and watch a house burn? You know what I'm saying? Before you do something. You know what I mean? Like if you felt that connection and that close with players like Steve Smith, and you looked at Josh Norman like the son he never had, all this stuff, and and again, why is Brent Burson still on the team? And so if you feel this way, why are you gonna sit by and let this happen? Like, it ain't no scenario, Steve, in my mind. Like I said, I've never been in the NFL office, but ain't no scenario in my mind where I'm gonna hire you to handle my you my assistant manager, right? So all the employees report to you. Right. You messing up, and I'm just gonna be like, well, okay, maybe that might have been a mistake. I'm gonna give him one. I'm gonna let him see what's gonna happen next year. And you do it again. It's something that I don't agree with. I ain't saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying I don't agree with it. Right. And I'm still gonna be like, it's cool. It's all right. then you do it again. You know what I mean? Like, how long are you going to sit there and do that? You know what I mean?
So okay, I hear what you're just saying right now, and I kind of disagree because because y'all went since you got Gettleman 3 years in a row with a winning season. So 1 year,
so that's the balance, and that's where it gets tricky, Glass. Because when you're winning, you kind of overlook stuff. You know what I mean? When you go into the Super Bowl, what you gonna say? You don't want to rock that boat no kind of way, right? You don't want to, you get real superstitious at that point. Like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. But at the same time, you're watching this man set fire to your place. You know, but is it worth it, Steve? For me, I'm like, I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? Get us there.
I think that's what we differ at, because I'm not cool with it.
Look,
I'm not
like,
cool with
get us there.
My house burning down.
I'm like, get us there, bring that thing back. That's all I care about. You know what I'm saying? Under any circumstances, by any means necessary. I don't care whose toes you got to step on. But that's just me, because I've seen so many organizations do it that way.
Right. Like I said, I think just because you had a losing season, it was a knee-jerk reaction because like I said before, Baltimore Ravens, they went down the dumps for a minute and they didn't change anything. They kept Ozzie Newsome, kept the ball rolling. Same thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They didn't get rid of Tomlin. Right. The Hines family kept the ball rolling. We're gonna ride this wave out, and it works. Just because you have a down year doesn't mean you just make a knee-jerk reaction.
Right. Yeah.
But see, but I don't think it was a knee jerk. Like if you look at Pittsburgh, how they handling Bell right now, right?
Right.
They pretty much
still ain't got no deal yet.
You're not getting the contract from us, right?
Right.
But look at how he did. Look how he answered to that. I guess I got to get better then.
Yeah.
Right.
So obviously that conversation was done the right way.
I agree, but at the same time, I think that's the expected. That's the respect going the other way. And I think a lot of people overlooking that, like, these dudes know how to approach a Tomlin and whoever their general manager is, like, because they know with certain things that just ain't gonna work. I ain't gonna say nothing crazy because I ain't get my deal. I'm gonna go on Twitter and be like, oh, they disrespected. You know what I mean? That's not gonna happen. Only in Carolina and San Francisco that you see crap like this
because they got disrespected.
Right, but
the whole point. There's a way you're supposed to what's it called?
You say that, but
somebody.
Go ahead,
Steve.
Oh, okay. What I was saying is look at KK Short. After he saw what happened with Josh Norman, he came out this year and said, "Oh, I'm gonna sign it as soon as they give it to me."
Right.
I mean, it's. I agree with you as how the players come across. Gettleman goes to them. He called them in the office. The first words that coming from him. So that's disrespect first coming that way. All you got to say, and like you said, we've been managers, right? And I told you the story last night of how I handled a situation one time. It wasn't.
He'll come back. Hopefully. I'm trying.
Disrespectful. It was.
Right.
I'm trying to prove a point that it won. You have to sit back and look at that and go. There's got to be a middle ground. Like you're at extreme. It's either this or it's going to be that over there.
I don't think we're going to come to an agreement on this. I don't. Because you know what? And I'm going to tell you, because I'm a father, and you guys are too. And y'all ain't going to let y'all kids bully me.
Oh, hell no.
And I mean, I'm not going to disrespect and demean my daughter, but at the same time, she understands our relationship to a point where she ain't going to come to me with no stupid stuff. Right. She's not going to question nothing that I done put in place
because you didn't come to her wrong, man.
Exactly.
You might have yelled at her, said something, but after everything calmed down, you talk with her, right?
I do.
Don't act like you don't do that, man.
I do. I do.
Okay.
Exactly. Come on now.
I'm just saying. I think we need to toughen up a little bit. Again, I feel like, it's hard to say because right now we kind of everybody's still in the moment, and there's still a lot of speculation. We don't really, and again, and we can probably zip it up with this one. I personally, just because I'm a fan, and this might not have nothing to do with actual facts, I cannot see this Olsen Davis thing being the root cause of this. I respect those guys way too much for it to be that way. So this has got to be some deep seated, and for the owner to pull the trigger now, a week before training camp. You know what I'm saying?
it ain't the root cause, but it was a straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, I think so too. What you think, Steve? Steve ain't with us. You with us?
Let me ask you one more question before we leave up out of here. Now that the situation happened, almost training camp.
Yeah.
You know, I said y'all was gonna win 10, 11 games. Does it change the dynamics of how the season gonna go? You think you're gonna win 10 games or lose less?
It's hard for me with that one. Like Steve believes that.
10
you
games?
know, See, only reason why I'm because we're dealing with this, and because of the nature of this situation and it being really, really emotionally fueled and all that kind of stuff. And Carolina's a team that kind of, you know, their momentum is built on emotion and all that. It really depends on how we come out of training camp, because how these dudes respond to this, you know. And because right now I look at the team, and I'm just in this division. I'm just saying it ain't gonna be easy. It's like they're gonna have to come together on so many different levels to get back to a place that's even remotely close to where they were in 2015. And I mean, it's from where I'm sitting right now, it don't look good. It just don't. You know, it looked like, you know, like I said, 8-8, 9-7 was where I was at. But you know what? I was like 10-6 in 2015, and I was wrong about that. So, you know, and let me do this before I get back to y'all. Mr. P-Town, listen, I understand. You're a diehard 49ers fan, but if you sitting there trying to tell me that the office stuff that y'all went through is even close to what's happening, like, we got a new GM. I understand you got a new GM now, but the last 3 years that team has been in turmoil. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay,
the 49ers was fubbed up from the top down. You don't even compare that. You can't compare that to this here, man.
Ain't talking about don't put us in the same. I'm just saying.
No,
I observe a little bit more of the NFL than what's going on in Carolina. I know I'm a big Carolina Panthers fan, but a lot of people don't know. In order for us to pull this show off, I gotta pay attention to other stuff too. Right. And I see you 49ers. Okay, you know what I mean? But
they had the second worst record, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
been in the top 5 in the draft for how long?
Yeah, not even close.
Come on.
No.
But yeah, that's what I think about that. Anyway, Steve, any last closing things you want to, you know, say about the situation? Because, like, I knew, and Glass is weird because, you know, me and Steve, we Panther fans, and we got a bond, right? but we completely disagreed on this thing right here.
I see.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it happens sometime, and it's all good.
Yeah.
But you know, I thought me and you would have more disagreements than me and Steve did, but you know, but then I was talking to him last night, I kind of knew where it was going to be. Anyway, Steve, you got an important. Oh God, I ain't even going to address that. But
I mean, the only thing I got to say is, you know, like you say, we all in our feelings right now, so it's fresh, it's new, you know. But if this team going in, I don't believe this what happened is going to affect the season at all.
Right.
I still got them at 10 games, 10-ish games. You know what I mean? There's a couple of them that I know we're gonna drop one each side division. I don't think we're gonna sweep anybody in the division. But then I think for everybody else we play, I think you're gonna see not 2015, but I think it's gonna be close. I think you're gonna see teams are gonna see an offense that they've never seen before.
Right.
They're gonna. I mean, when you start talking about having, Samuel and McCaffrey in the backfield together. Again, we talked about it last night. What defense do you roll out? Right. Like if you caught in the 4-3, you're done. Right. Like you can't do that. You're gonna have to play nickel. Then if you play nickel, then we can run the ball. Right. And we talk about Cam changing his ways. That dude is still 6'6".
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's still gonna be sprinkles of that in there. You know, they ain't going nowhere. You know, so
and then
we just want to say it as often.
Right, and the defense is stronger. I mean, you know, yeah, we got Julius Peppers back. Like I said, I mean, the dude, he talking about this ain't no fair wear tool for him. He want to play. So you look at that 25, 30 snaps for him, easy. If he can get us 4 or 5 sacks, I'm good with that. You got a defensive backfield now who's grown up. You brought in another safety, so now your boy can go back to what he played when he second in the league in interceptions, I think it was that year. So he can go back to his natural. You got Bradbury over there. He's not a lockdown, but like again, he was rated higher than Josh Norman was last year, right, as a rookie. So we got some pieces. You got Luke Kuechly, if he can stay healthy, and now I think he can because he ain't got to worry about what's going on behind him. Right. You got Zach Thompson back there. They're going to cut Davis snaps down. They've already announced that they're going to cut – and why I'm on that? How you going to ask for more money and play less? And
you play less because, you know, because you're a legend. You know what I mean? You're the bionic man.
Anyway, I digress.
Yeah. still around? You still there?
But I digress. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. So listen, man. Look, I definitely thought having you on here was definitely enlightening, right? It was different, right? You know, so keep bringing a lot of because he's like one of them deep in the team type dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's cool. Like, you know, and the fact that we had that big disagreement, I think that actually made the show a lot better, to be honest with you. You know, because, you know, a lot of times you see Panther fans sitting together all, you know, holding hands and stuff. You know, I ain't with all that. And, you know, and I love the fact that, you know what, I can talk to, like, that's why I surround myself with people who I can be real with. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't gotta agree. Me, Glass, and JB don't never agree on nothing. Right, you know what I'm saying? But we've been doing this for 6 years. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it works. You know what I mean? And you know what? Like, having you here was great, man. Just let everybody know what's going on. And I think Glass, we can have Steve pop in here a bit more frequently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let everybody know how they can find you and get into some conversation with you, man. Talking to you, Steve.
Oh, well, I'm on Twitter. That's at Slice0072. I'm on there all the time. Not on Facebook as much, but you can go ahead and frame me. I'll catch you back on Facebook. We can have a conversation. I don't mind sitting around and talking football. I can do that. I know all teams. I'm like you. And you can't, to me, you can't talk about your team if you don't know what's going on around you.
And I appreciate stuff like that. Yeah,
you know, I dare any Cowboy fan, any Green Bay fan, any Steeler fan.
Cowboy fans catch hair from all sides, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But just know when you come, you better have your facts together.
No, that's right.
I'm all about stats. So if you can't back it up, then, you know, that conversation going to be short and you're going to be mad.
Yeah. I know that's right. Well, look, we definitely appreciate you having you on. Glass, you know what? Man. You provided the outside voice, and we needed that and on a show like this one. Because, again, you can't put a bunch of Panther fans in the room and expect to get, like, you know, some straight stuff coming out. You know what I mean? You can't really do that. Just like you know how it is if you put a bunch of Cowboy fans and no Patriot fan in the room. You know, it's weird. But I want to thank you for coming and providing that outside voice, and I knew you was gonna be good with it because you know you're my man. So yeah, go ahead and put yourself over for the fans like you always do. And
all right, man. First of all, shouts out to Steve right here. Appreciate it, bro. I'm following you on Twitter because I'm always on Twitter. Big Q knows that. But anyway, this is your boy Glass from Get With It Sports, place where you get your sports the way you want it. You follow me on Twitter at Get With It Sports. Check out the Facebook page at Get With It Sports. Check out the blog page at getwithitsports.wordpress.com. Got any questions, comments, shoot the ish. You know where to find me via email at getwithitsports2. That's number 2 at gmail.com. And a shout out to Ezra from Idiot. He says Panthers still better than the Jets. You can have our GM if you like.
At least keeping it real.
He keeping it real, bro.
Keeping it real.
Brother ain't lying.
At least he's keeping it real. I appreciate that, Az. Yeah, so anyway, look, I know, you know, this is a bit of a weird time for Carolina Panthers fans. And again, I appreciate my guest, Steve, for being here, you know, Glass for showing up and things like that. And whether you guys agree with me or anybody on this panel or not, listen, we all fans of the game and we all got our own opinions and that kind of thing. I would never take nothing personal. You know what I mean? I'm just not that kind of guy. I love the game so much. And I know people are going to disagree because like you said, Steve, I'm a little bit extreme. And you know, that's just who I am. You know what I mean? And Glass knows this. You know this too. I'm just saying, once I sink my teeth into something, it's done. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be hard to kind of get me off of that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, we'll see how the story develops and things like that. But again, I want you guys to join us tomorrow night. Is it tomorrow? Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., Team Boy TV Live, me, Glass, JB, break down the AFC North, JB's division, right? Yeah, so we'll be getting into that. And so it should be a lot of fun. And we'll see some old faces like Dalton and all them that we hadn't really spoke to so far this season. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you guys for joining us. And we're going to be out. Y'all take it easy. Peace.